Hello everyone and welcome to Crypto ID, crypto investor channel. I'm Boris, so let's dive in. I'm with Colton today. Hello Colton.
Hey Boris, I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to the Kryptonite channel, everyone. Let's dive right in. Today we'll be talking about the graph. Can you explain this project, Boris, and give us a little synopsis on it?
Yes, so it's an open source protocol based on the DLT, distributed ledger technology. It is decentralized, and what it does is it collects data from the blockchain without any involvement from any third party. They have a global API for indexing, organizing, and querying data from the blockchain. So since 2018, when they were launched, they've offered a hosted service for Web3 and decentralized finance apps with other 2,900 subgraphs. They had a public sale where they raised $12 million. They also had a private sale funded by Coinbase Ventures and Digital Currency Group for $5 million. And then they did one more, of $2.5 million with Multicoin Capital. The network relies on nodes to run the mainnet, and it's a great environment for dApps and developers who need indexing information from the blockchain. The one thing you have to realize is the graph is offering a solution, because when you have millions and millions and if not billions of transactions, it becomes extremely slow whenever you're trying to query something. You don't want your dApps to be running very slow because there's no indexing. It would be a little bit like having the internet, but let's say no Google. How do you find information? Very complicated. And every time you try to do something, it takes forever. So that's what they provide. Their native coin is GRT, and it's an ERC20 token. It can be stored on pretty much any crypto wallet.
Thank you for that information there, Boris. Can we now kind of change gears and talk about the history and performance of the graph?
Yeah, so like we said, they were founded back in 2018, and the whole idea was to do a decentralized indexing and querying app, which at that point, there was nothing equivalent on the market. The mainnet really launched in 2020, so it took them roughly 2 years to finally get it all working and then being able to be used. And so their ultimate goal is to have the Web3 accessible to anyone, and to be enabled to create dApps without the need for servers or centralized authority. By April 2021, the Graph hosted service processed 20 billion queries. So that's a pretty large number of queries already. So definitely they have good utilization. So the nodes basically they scan the blockchain database. And they organize the data. You have the developers, they can create subgraphs, which is like kind of a subnet of information. Let's say if you did all the social securities in the world, maybe you want to create a subgraph on just a specific country. So you're working with a smaller set of data. You have the indexing of the data. That's to make it go faster, because when you index data, then when you do queries, those come back much faster. And you have some nodes that are doing that indexing and querying. Now, the value of the graph, it really depends on many things. I mean, of course, like every coin, you have the total supply and circulating supply, but what's also going to be important is the roadmap. What's coming up? What do they have? How is it being used? Is it really used a lot or not a whole lot? There could be a few regulations around this as well. The updates, the adoption. So all this, the more it's being used, the more the value is going to go up. And from what has been happening over the past 2-3 years since the launch, the utilization is definitely growing and growing rapidly. The initial total supply is 10 billion GRT, but new tokens are being issued as indexing rewards. So they basically have an annual issuance rate, like an inflation rate of about 3%. Now, this is subject to future technical governance. They may want to readjust depending on the usage, but that's currently their inflation rate. And in that, they burn also some withdrawal tax rate of about 1%. So the main functions, you have three pretty much groups. You have the indexers, curators, delegators. The indexers, they operate the nodes. The curators, they collect the data and classify it. Delegators, they delegate the GRT to the indexers. Now, all participants in the ecosystem are rewarded, are being paid in GRT. And then finally, it's available pretty much everywhere. I mean, all the centralized, decentralized exchanges, they all have pretty much, they carry the graph, so it's very easy to find. The all-time high was $2.84, and then the all-time low was 5 cents. And currently it's sitting around 15, 16 cents. And they have a market cap of about $1.4 billion. So it's already a pretty big project, because they're ranked number 41 on CoinGecko. They have a max supply and total supplies of 10 billion, and currently the circulating supply is 8.8 billion. Now, the whole market sentiment right now, it's bullish, especially with all the AI stuff, because this is considered AI as well. So it's very bullish.
Thank you for that information there, Boris. Can we now talk about what's new and what's in the future roadmap for the graph?
Yeah, so one thing important to note is that over the past month and a half, the graph and the GRT token have gone way up. If you were to buy it back in December, you could have bought it for 5 cents, and now it's sitting at almost 300%, because it's already past 15, 16 cents. It went all the way up to 18. We've seen a small correction. So it's been growing quite a bit. And the revenue grew from 5% quarter over quarter, but they grew by 265% year over year. So they have an exponential growth. And in the Messari report, the GRT revenue from the query fees rose 66% quarter over quarter and 6,200% year over year. So we see that it's really gaining traction. And they have, once again, it's a token that has, in my opinion, but it is just my opinion, a great utility. So those who have a real utility are the ones that could be performing the best over the next bull market. Now, the other thing is some of those smaller caps altcoins, they are performing better than Bitcoin in, so far in the small trend we've seen over the past few weeks. So they are gaining more gains, and in the case of GRT, it registered 117% gain, outperforming Bitcoin. So that's the other thing that we're going to see probably in this bull market, is that it was already the case in the last one, but this one would be even bigger in my opinion, is that potentially Bitcoin will perform well, but some of those altcoins will perform much better than Bitcoin by many multiples. Now, some of them, some traders are saying that they won't be buying top performing AI tokens because they think that, yeah, it's gonna explode, but then it's gonna fall back down. I'm not so sure about that because I like the fact that we're very, very far from the all-time high. We're very close to the all-time low. And we see the utility is gigantic. To me, the graph could be one of those coins that it'll definitely go back to its all-time high and then probably pass it. And in terms of multiples, that's probably one of the better ones, while it is still in the top, in the top 50 cryptos. So it is definitely less risky than buying a crypto that's number 500 or number 3,000. So I don't think that I agree with some of those traders.
Thank you, Boris. I appreciate that. Can we now talk about staking? Can you stake the graph, and do you have any recommendations on where we should be doing that to get the best return on investment?
Yeah, I mean, obviously with the project itself, now this requires a little bit of work. There's 154 active indexers. Most people cannot be indexers because they don't have, enough coins to do that. So most people will be delegators. But you get different APYs. You can get from 8 to 15%. Usually the allocation is around 28 days max, but sometimes the indexers can close it earlier. I have to say that it is a bit tedious. I have done it myself, and it is a bit tedious to do because it requires you to redo this thing pretty much every month. So probably, I think the graph, if they want to see even more adoption, they need to simplify this whole process and make it a little bit more user-friendly. Right now, it is not user-friendly unless you are already someone very well-versed in crypto. This is not something beginners are going to be able to do. So that's the only downside on the staking with the graph. But the rewards, 8 to 15%, it's pretty good with a 3% inflation.
Awesome. Thank you, Boris. Can we now talk about what people want to know? Can you give us a price prediction of the graph and where you see it in the future?
Yeah, so we're currently sitting around 15, 16 cents. By next year, we could be along the lines of about 40 cents. By 2026, we would be along the lines of about 80 cents. And then by 2028, we would jump to over dollar most likely, maybe $1.70, something like this. And then by 2030, we should be along the lines of $3, $3, $4, potentially more, potentially a lot more, because it all depends again on the usage. It depends on different things. But knowing that the all-time high was 280, we would be well past the all-time high, and we could be at $4, $5, $6. It really depends on how much usage. But even if we only reach, let's say, 322, which is still very conservative in my opinion, we would be at 20x what we are today. So a lot of upside, a lot of potential. But once again, it's crypto. It could also go down to zero. So be very careful when investing on any of those projects. Do your own research because never there's any guarantee anywhere in crypto.
Thank you, Boris. I appreciate that. That's all the questions I have for today, but please feel free to add anything else.
I think that's it for today. Thank you, Colton. Thank you, everyone. We look forward to see you on the next Crypto Night video. I hope this video helps. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. And if you like the video at the end, click on the thumbs up.